Om Amriteshwarye Namah. Salutations to our beloved Amma. Amma always tells us that you are lions, you are not lambs. Be courageous. Face life with self-confidence. Don't be weak, be strong. She also tells us, do your dharma. Whatever duties are assigned to you, do them with awareness, with concentration, with courage. So today I'm going to tell you a story about the great princess Shakuntala. Once upon a time, Vishwamitra, the great rishi, was doing tapas. He sat in the forest for days and days without food, without movement, in great austerity. And as he sat there, he generated heat. His body generated this energy and this power, so much so Devas became afraid. And the Devas, especially Lord Indra, became so afraid. He said, one day Vishwamitra could become Indra and I'll become an ordinary being. So he thought in his mind, I must disturb this great penance of Vishwamitra. So he thought, and he schemed, and he came up with an idea. He said, one of my lovely dancers, Menaka, she's beautiful. I will ask her to go down and dance while Vishwamitra is meditating. Disturb him, and he will fall in love with her. And then his penance will be broken, and I can stay Lord of the heavens. She went down to the earth from the heavens. She danced, and as she danced, the anklets on her feet made noise, and Vishwamitra's meditation was disturbed. And he opened his eyes, and just at that moment, the god of love shot an arrow at him, and he fell in love with Menaka. And from their marriage, from their union, came a most beautiful child, a beautiful little girl. Unfortunately for the little girl, Menaka had come from the heavens, and she said, I cannot take care of this child. And she decided to go back to the heavens. And the Rishi Vishwamitra said, I don't want to take care of a child. I'm trying to attain enlightenment and become a Brahma Rishi. So he took the child and he left the child by the side of a river. And the most magical thing happened. The child was so beautiful, with such beautiful energy around her that all the birds started flying close to her. And in the shade, and when the sun was shining on her, they covered up the sunlight with their wings. And these birds were called Shakuntala birds. And so she got the name Shakuntala. That afternoon, a rishi was coming to the river. And he heard a baby crying. And hearing the baby cry, he started walking towards the baby. And he saw the beautiful child with the birds and the butterflies protecting the child. And he took the child in his arms. And he carried the child to his hermitage, to his ashram. And he named the child Shakuntala after the birds. That beautiful little girl grew up in the ashram, serving this great rishi, the Rishi Kanva. She heard the sacred verses, she heard the stories, and she turned out to be the most beautiful, most physically beautiful and internally beautiful young lady. And about the age of 18 one day, she was in the ashram. Her father had gone to meditate on the hill. She was there. At that very moment, there was a king in the forest, Raja Dushyant. Raja Dushyant was handsome. He was strong. He was a king of a great land, admired by other kings, followed by people. And the women would look at him and say, oh, he is as beautiful as the god of love. And he happened to be in the forest that day when the hermit had gone for meditation on the mountain. He had done his hunting and he saw the ashram, he saw some smoke on the hill. When he saw the smoke on the hill, he said, "Oh, it must be an ashram. I must go and get the blessings of the sage." And he walked up the hill. He left his party behind, his soldiers, his assistants. He walked humbly like a wise king up the hill, up the steps. And he arrived at the door of the hermitage. And he knocked on the door. Nobody came. He knocked on the door again loudly. And he said, "Is anybody there? I would like to see the great Rishi." And suddenly, the door opened. And who stood before him but the lovely Shakuntala? And he saw her. And he was drinking in the beauty of Shakuntala. And he knew he had fallen in love with Shakuntala. Dushyant was not married at this time. He had no children, no progeny. So he saw this beautiful girl and he said, "I must marry her." But he said nothing. She asked him, "Are you hungry?" He said, "Yes, I would love to have something to eat." So she went to the kitchen, she brought some fruit, she brought a pail of water. And she sat with him while he ate. And they talked and they talked. And the more that Dushyant talked to her, the more he fell in love with her. And as he fell in love with her, he decided he was going to ask her to marry him. And so he turned to her and said, "Shakuntala, tell me about your birth." She explained the story, that she was the daughter of Vishwamitra, who was a rishi, but he was also a great king before that. And he said to her, "Shakuntala, I would like to marry you. You are a princess and I'm a king. Please marry me and be the mother of my children. Be the mother of the next emperor of this great country." And so, Shakuntala had a dilemma. He was a wonderful king, wanted to marry her. Her father was out of the ashram, so she turned to him and she said, "You know, I have no objection to marrying you, but I don't want to take this choice myself. I want my father's guidance and his permission." So Shakuntala said, "We will wait till he comes tonight." But Raja Dushyant said, No. Suppose he doesn't come tonight. Sometimes rishis will stay in meditation for days." He said, "No, you must marry me." And so he quickly called out to one of his assistants and asked for the priest who was with him to come. And the priest came and they conducted the marriage. And Dushyant reassured Shakuntala, "Don't worry, Shakuntala. This is allowed by the law of kings. This is called Gandharva rights marriage. Don't worry. We're not doing a full wedding, but according to laws of Kshatriyas, this is okay." And so they were married. He spent that night there. The rishi had not returned yet. Then he spent another night there, and the rishi did not return. And finally Dushyant started getting afraid. He said, "Oh, maybe the rishi won't be happy that I married his daughter, because she was the adopted daughter of the Rishika, without his permission." So he got scared, and in that fear he made a decision. He said, "Look, Shakuntala, I'm going to leave now, but then 3 days from now, I will send some people. They will come, they will bring a beautiful palanquin, they'll bring horses, and we will take you like a proper queen into my kingdom.